What's going on, you guys? This is your boy Bill Mahari here, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast. Welcome to a special edition of Boxing Talk. This is a special pre-fight show to the Errol Spence Jr. versus Shawn Porter fight that's going to take place in Staples Center in LA, California at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Salute to the entire LDBC. Salute to the greater boxing community. Man, I am fired up for tonight. I'll tell you that. I got my drinks together. I got my favorite pizza ready to go, all lined up. And it should be epic fireworks when it goes down tonight at Staples Center between two of the best welterweights in the business, ready to go at each other. So before we do that, I wanted to discuss to you guys about my personal thoughts on the fight, though. And for all the people that's coming in, go ahead and smash that like button, so too. And also, for all the new subscribers there too, feel free to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon for all the latest notifications when I go live. Okay. So here's what I see about this fight here tonight. Tonight. Okay. Now, obviously, in my eyes, Shawn Porter is the big underdog. Okay. So hold on just 1 second. Okay. So the way I see this fight is that this is going to be a very interesting fight to say the least. Stormy B man, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Thank you for your support, though, man. Real appreciate it. Okay, it's just boxing. What's going on, brother? Thank you for coming in. So the way I look at this fight is that these are two guys that are obviously two of the best in the business, two champions. You know, I mean, they're both ready in their prime, and it's going to be epic fireworks. Now, in my prediction for this fight is this: I got Spence winning this fight by late round stoppage in the 10th round. Okay, Pedro Cardoso. The fight starts at 9 p.m. Central Time on Fox pay-per-view. Make sure to order the pay-per-view. And also, everybody, go out and order that pay-per-view, okay? Let's go in there and give that fight the much-needed support it deserves, all right? So many B-Man says, that's right, get them snacks and drinks in order. That's right. That's the plan. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, the way I see this fight is that this is a fight that is really going to be a talent side of two different styles. Errol Spence Jr., the technical boxer, the hard-hitting body puncher versus the rough, rugged style of Shawn Porter, who loves to get in there in the trenches and willing to try to maul and using his head, using his elbows, doing whatever it takes to get you uncomfortable. Okay? Now, here's how I see it like this. The way I see this fight is picturing in my mind is that in the early rounds, both these fighters are going to try to fill each other out. Okay, they're going to try to see what tendencies that each of these fighters are going to throw at each other and try to adjust as the fight progresses. Okay, now the other thing that I'll be looking for in this fight is that who can establish their style and their tempo of the fight this in the beginning. Okay, so Samuel, my air train brother, what's going on? How you doing? So the way I see this fight is in my mind. I think that Errol Spence Jr. His ability to get stronger as the fight goes on, and ability to read his opponent's tendencies as the fight progresses is going to be the big key in this fight for me. Now, we know that Shawn Porter is a guy that always wants to stand up to you and fight toe to toe. Now, I don't think it would be wise for him to do that. Now, he's going to have to really use his boxing skills to try to outsmart Errol Spence Jr. because the expectation in this fight coming in is going to be like this. I think Shawn Porter is going to have to really do something outside of the box to try to beat Errol Spence Jr. In my opinion, at least. There's no way that you're going to at least knock out Errol Spence, but you can at least try to hurt and try to make him back up. Now, the one thing that I noticed that during those fights is that Errol Spence Jr. likes to square up sometimes and try to square you up to make you an inviting to get to square it on his target. And sometimes when he does that, it invites himself to get hit with some counter shots or some lead right hands. I noticed that in the Kell Brook fight when I rewatched it again. But give credit to Errol Spence for at least for turning it around and basically sticking to the game plan, hitting him with lead right hands and targeting that right eye. But Denise Wars, what's going on? How you doing? Yes, yes, yes. Now, here's what I look at. Here's what I'm going to be looking for. The other thing that I'll be looking for in the fight too is that how can these guys progress in the later rounds? Now, both these guys are on the big stage on a big pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a big epic fight where both these guys are wanting something to prove. Okay. Now, I'm not going to talk about the future because it can go anywhere from there after the fight's all over. But in this present form of time, both these guys are very capable of beating each other. I believe that Errol Spence's ability to adapt as the fight goes on and his ability to read on his opponent, as the rounds progress is going to be the big advantage for him, to try to at least key in on Shawn Porter. Now, I don't believe you're going to knock out Shawn Porter with one shot. That's not going to happen. I think what's going to happen is that Errol Spence Jr. is going to wear down on his body and really try to wear him down and basically tire him out to the later rounds. What's up, whatever man? Mark Stearns, thank you for coming in. Thank y'all for support. Real appreciative. See, this is a fight that is really going to test both these fighters, their skill level, their will, and their endurance. Okay? And the other thing it's going to do is the most important thing for me is their grit. Who's going to want it more? Who's willing to go beyond the distance to win this fight? That I believe Errol Spence Jr. can. And I think that we're going to see a different level of Errol Spence that we may not seen before. Now, we've seen a glimpse of it against Mikey Garcia, the way his ability to outbox a good boxer. Okay. But we have not seen him try to, out not just outclass, but also using that ability to circle around the wing. Now let's check out the chat real quick. Whatever man says, salute to the chat. The land of the 216. What's going on, brother? Derek McGee, what's going on? Now, Samuel S says, jab is the key for Spence. If Shawn can take it away, I see Shawn winning the fight because Earl's inside game isn't too great for me. Really? Okay. Well, I do agree with your first point. I do agree that the jab is going to be the key. Okay. Now, I don't believe that Errol Spence Jr. would want to go in an inside war with Shawn Porter, but he's very capable of doing so because Errol Spence Jr. can really attack your body in ways that is very, very scary. Okay, but I do agree with you on this. The key thing for him is that to establishing the left jab. Okay, establishing the jab and keeping him off base. Because the one thing that's going to be very key for me is how can Errol Spence Jr. adjust to the ruggedness and the physicality that Shawn Porter is going to bring. This is going to be a very telling fight. Now, I've been listening, hearing all the predictions, and many people believe that Shawn Porter is going to likely get knocked out. Now, if it goes a distance, I wouldn't be too surprised by that at all because the truth of the matter is Shawn Porter is a very resilient fighter. You know what I mean? He's a very resilient fighter, and he's very, very game. Now he will not back down to anybody. But if there's some point in the fight where he might get hurt, I would be in the later rounds. So many B-man says, Denise Sport, whatever man, what's going on? Marquise Johnson, what's going on, brother? How you doing? See, this is really going to be a telling sign type of a fight. Okay. Now, all the promotion has been great. Both trainers, both Derek James and Kenny Porter have been going at each other's throats. It's been great promotion. Everybody's into this fight. You know what I mean? Even the casual who don't watch boxing are into this fight. This is really going to be a very interesting fight, to say the least. You know what I mean? And the other thing that's going to be the critical key for me is that when the trainers, get into the championship rounds? Can they help their fighters lead to the critical adjustments that is going to help them into their victories? Okay. Now, let me look at the chat real quick. Samuel says, if it's a close fight, Shawn will probably get the nod. I don't believe PBC. Ooh, I don't think so, man. I think that I think that the key thing for me, if it goes down to a decision, I think it's going to be handed down to either Errol Spence Jr. because he's a better technical boxer than Shawn Porter. But if there's any point in the fight where Errol Spence Jr. shows some sort of weakness, then you know what? I can see it. I can see it probably going into his way. But it's really going to be a very close fight, to say the least. My prediction is going to be 10th round TKO. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? So that's how I kind of see with that. And with that, allow me to introduce to you the OG, Mr. Curtis Anderson. What's going on, Curtis? How are you doing?
Mehari, man. Abel Mehari, what's going on with you, man? What's up, brother?
Man, I'm excited for this fight, though, bro. I ordered the pay-per-view Thursday, and I already got my order of pizza ready to go for tonight. We ready, man.
Hey, man, not like boxing. As much as I love football and basketball and baseball and hockey and soccer and what else? It's nothing like the sport of boxing, man. It's just feel the anticipation of the event is sometimes better than the event itself. I'm hyped. I might go to the boxing gym and watch the fight, what trainers and fighters, and or I might stay home. I got a choice. I'm just excited, man. I'm very excited. That we have a fight like this. We needed a unification fight in the sport of boxing, and I can't wait.
All right, for sure. So, you and I briefly texted last night about the keys to victory, and you told me that the key was going to be the uppercuts. Now, I was hoping to talk about that a little bit more in depth today. What do you think the key is going to be in this fight? What you're going to be looking for?
I'm gonna be looking for the letting Porter Spence using Porter's aggression against him. He can't win on the outside. Let him run into the jab, a la Kell Brook, but the difference will be Spence's jab and combinations behind the jab and the uppercut and close, because that's the only way Porter can win. He doesn't have the length to fight Spence on the outside. They have to come in close, out hustle Spence, try to push him back, make it a sloppy, ugly fight, and get it to the later rounds, and maybe he can steal a decision, because he doesn't have the skill set like a Errol Spence. He can get away with it with you guys and Danny Garcia, but Errol Spence is a different animal. A left hook, right hook to the body is important. The uppercut, because when you fight in a shorter, aggressive fighter, you use the uppercut. People who fought Joe Frazier and Mike Tyson and Rocky Marciano, they always try to utilize the uppercut. That is key, because Porter is very aggressive. Because I can't see another way he's going to win unless he try to mix up his attack. He can't outbox Earl. So he's going to have to fight him in close and make it an ugly fight and crowd him and pressure, But Earl has great place punchment, and, he has a real good left hook. People don't talk a lot about, the hook he hit Algieri and dropped Peterson with. It's sharp. It's very sharp. I like Spence in the 11th round. I kept going back and forth, unanimous decision or TKO. Now, boxing is strange because Spence can suffer a cut. He can be unfocused. When I say unfocused, I mean sometimes when a guy go into a fight, say, I'm going to knock you out, he becomes unfocused and he tries so hard knocking the other guy out and trying to make a statement that it throws him off his game.
Right.
And he has to be very careful not to overshoot his punches. And the best way to knock somebody out is to build blocks for a knockout, meaning you break him down round by round. Then you get him out of there.
That's what I was kind of thinking about too, Curtis, because Errol Spence throughout the entire promotion of the fight has made his statements about I'm going to try to knock you out and make a statement out of you, paraphrasing. But I think that for me it's going to come down to how Errol Spence Jr. can break down Shawn Porter. Now I don't believe you can knock out Shawn Porter with one shot because he's very durable. He can take a good punch. But I don't know if Shawn Porter has faced the kind of power that Errol Spence Jr. is going to bring in the two key losses against Kell Brook and Keith Thurman. They basically hit him with a jab and basically hit him with basically right against right hooks and basically staggered Shawn, but they didn't knock him out. But again, both Kell Brook and Keith Thurman don't have the kind of power that Errol Spence is going to bring. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, some people say Keith Thurman, but I don't believe that. I believe in places your punches correctly, and Spence can build, for the knockout, because he's going to hit Shawn consistently. Whether Shawn takes those punches on a consistent basis, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. I don't think so, but I can be wrong, because I would underestimate Shawn. Shawn is tough. But if you hit a rock, eventually that rock will chip, and what makes it dangerous for Shawn is that Earl has this mindset. Whatever he go in the ring to do, I'm going to do it. He went in the ring against Mikey Garcia, and he was like he's going to prove to the world that he can outbox Mikey Garcia, and that's what he did. This is totally different. I'm going in there to prove that I can knock out Shawn Porter. And hey, if it happens, then we can say, man, this guy Earl is for real. I know he's for real. I got him number 4, my pound for pound, top 10. But the key will be how much punishment can Shawn take, and if Earl can just not be overzealous and overshoot his punches. He can overshoot his jab sometimes. You
That's
can
true.
counter his jab. Kell Brook was doing it. I seen people do that,
Right.
because he left it out there. It becomes predictable, and if Shawn has a game plan, he would maybe try to smother Errol Spence, and make it a dog fight.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so let me check out the chat real quick. Okay, Denise Ward says so. I believe that Spence needs to get a stoppage or KO. Okay. Whatever man says salute Stormy B man. Land of the 216 says salute Kurt. Denise Ward says salute Curtis Anderson. Christopher Jornay, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Now Samuel S says, in my opinion, Danny Garcia is a harder puncher than Errol Spence. Well, that's could be a little bit debatable, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Now, what I noticed too with Errol Spence is I think sometimes he sometimes overshoot his punches and sometimes he squares up a bit too much, inviting himself to be an open target. And I noticed a lot of that in the Kell Brook fight earlier in the rounds until Errol Spence just stopped squaring up and basically just go in there, throw the lead right hand with a bit more conviction. You know what I mean? So I think if Shawn Porter was smart, he would say, okay, I'm gonna try to smother his punches and not give you a chance to square up. Now, if you try to overshoot your jab, I'm going to counter that jab. Now, it's gonna take a lot of a strategy that's gonna beat Errol Spence. But he is very beatable. It's not like he's an unstoppable force. Would you agree, Curtis?
Absolutely. There's no such thing of a perfect fighter. Even Sugar Ray Robinson, my favorite fighter of all time, has lost. Boxing is science, man. It's a sweet science. You can break any fighter down. You can have a fighter with the weakness. If I was Shawn, I would go to Spence's body. I would try to take as much as out of him as possible. I would use elbows and I would try to push him back. Earl, got a habit of squaring up, like you said. I saw that in the Mikey Garcia fight. Kenny Porter has to come up with a game plan. Barry Hunter is very smart, because Earl is going to, like I said, hit him consistently. So it's basically a race against time. I have to bully him and push him back before he inflicts punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, Earl, is going to be throwing 3, 4, 5 punches. It's going to look sort of like the Lamont Peterson fight. Take a look at Lamont Peterson before they stopped that fight. It looked like he went into a meat grinder. He was broken down to his very last compound. And Lamont Peterson wasn't the same because the next fight, I believe, against Sergey Lipinets, he was knocked out.
Right.
That's what punishment does. It takes everything out of you, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're never the same. So Shawn gonna get hit. He knows it. You know
Mm-hmm.
how much and how hard he's gonna get hit. That's another story. I just think it's gonna be a consistent beat. I think Porter is gonna have his moments. But it's just that Earl's all around skill set is going to be the key factor, and in the fight. I won't underestimate Shawn's tenacity and
Mm-hmm.
his ability, his toughness. He's a throwback fighter. He just doesn't have the size and the skill to bother Earl to the point where he could steal a victory. Now anything can happen. Any Earl can be off his game. It happens
Yep.
for reasons unknown. He's shooting punches that normally find a mark, misses. His hook misses. His punches are wide. I remember Sugar Ray Leonard saying that before you leave the dressing room, a fighter knows deep down inside if they have it or not. I never forgot when he said that. So,
Mm.
we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, so let's go ahead and check out the chat real quick. Boxing and barbecue was good, man. How you doing? Welcome to the channel, homie. It's just boxing. Says salute MehariNation and Curtis Anderson. 88 Sports Talk. Salute to the mighty LDBC. Boxing and barbecue says Shawn will not be the same after this fight. Like Curtis and I said, it depends about how much punishment he could take. If he could take, a full range of punishment for full 12 rounds, he may have a chance. But it's gonna depend on that. Now, Brooklyn Child Boxing, what's going on, Bob? What's going on, brother? And he also says, great chat, Kurt. Now, Samuel S. says that Earl also throws 3 punches at most. He shows up if you throw punches at him, which is very true. But also, he also uses a high guard type defense. So that means he doesn't have to use his head most times because he's very big and he uses the high guard very efficiently. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm gonna see it though. So, but let me ask you this though question though, Curtis. Now, does this kind of fight kind of have a feel of that kind of matchup like a Sugar Ray Leonard versus a Roberto Duran, their first fight, that kind of like feel and matchup that could probably cause some difficulty for Errol Spence?
Well, Shawn is Roberto Duran was a best Latino fighter I've ever seen in my life. I know Duran well. Duran was savvy. He was a monster that night. It has. Let me see. Because like I said, Porter is tough, and not to put Porter down. I don't think he's an overly skilled fighter, but he has to have some sort of skill to beat Danny Garcia. That's the best way. That's the best Porter ever looked. That because Danny Garcia, kind of slow, and he has a great resume. Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, and Adrian Bruner, and the underrated Juan Diaz
Danny
early in his
Garcia.
career. So like I said, this is Earl fight to lose, but boxing is about the mind. On paper, Spence has all the advantages. Overall skill set, but funny things happen, man. Sometimes it doesn't be your night. You have to factor in the intangibles, and maybe Porter fights above his head tonight. Maybe he can. Maybe Earl gets a cut and he becomes frustrated. Shawn is much stronger than Earl thought he would be, and frustration comes about. Where I'm laughing because I done seen it. Let me tell you something real quick. Let me give you a quick story to you in the chat.
Go
There was
ahead.
a fighter by the name of Donald Curry, the Lone Star Cobra. He was pound for pound the best fighter in boxing at that time. Number 2, Marvin was up there. He was ruling that welterweight division. He was the Earl Spence back in the day. I mean, we rant and raved about Donna Curry. He fought a guy from England by the name of Lloyd Hunnigan, called him the Ragamuffin Man. Lloyd Hunnigan was a real rough and tough fighter, not skilled like Donna Curry. And he was talking, I'm going to come to America. I'm going to show you Yanks. And, I love this personality. He came and beat the brakes off Donna Curry. That fight reminds me of, now, we don't know the results because, we have to wait and see. But if they're upset, that will remind me of this fight will remind me of that fight. Nobody gave Lloyd Hunnigan a chance. And Donna Curry was like 2-3 pound for pound. And he cut Donna Curry, the irony. He cut him. He roughed him up. He took his spirit. He took his soul. And Donna Curry gave up his championship on the stool. And I never forgave him for that. Now I'm not, Earl is built differently than Donna Curry. And it's funny because both are from Texas, the irony. I'm not saying that because Earl is tough mentally. I can see that. He's a throwback himself. But if Porter fights above his head and things go right for him, hey, funny things happen. I just think that at the end of the day, the guy with the best skill set wins.
Okay, for sure. No doubt about it, though, man. So, Brooklyn Child Boxing, I just sent you the link, though, my brother. So go ahead and check out your email. Let me also send Stormy B-Man a link, though, too. Now, Stormy B-Man also made up a good point, though, too, that he pointed out there. He said, "Salute, Curtis. I was watching Holmes versus Leon Spinks recently and realized that's who Porter reminds me with his style. Leon Spinks. What do you think?"
Yeah, I can see a lot of that, and that's funny you said that because when we had that crazy hairstyle at the weigh-in, he reminded me of Leon Spinks. Energetic fighter, tough, durable. He's the type of fighter that's not overly skilled, but some fighters like that tend to be a pain in the butt. They have a thorn in your side. They're just pesky enough to frustrate you. And that's what Shawn does. Shawn, it's not easy. He just makes a fight out of everything. And that's how Leon Spinks was. Against Holmes, he upset Ali. He was the thorn in your side type of fighter that will give you a good work, and if you're not prepared, he can beat you.
For sure.
I see the, analogy.
All right. So allow me to also introduce to you Mr. Brooklyn Child Boxing. Welcome, Brooklyn Child. How are you doing today, sir?
Man, what's going on, Abel? What's going on, Kurt? You know what I mean? I was just talking. Yeah, I was just talking.
Go ahead, Brooke. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, you go, you guys. I was gonna say real quick, man. I was just with Kurt in the other chat, man. Now, I don't know, man. I'm excited, man. I just want to talk some boxing today because I was talking to Act Reacher just like before, but like right after the stream started. Right after the stream finished. I told him, I'm like, yo, bro. I got because like in my personal life, I have my own business. You know what I mean? So I got stuff to do, but I don't feel like doing it right now, man. I just feel like talking some boxing, bro. I'm not even on front.
For sure, though, man. So what do you see in this fight, though, tonight, though, Mr. Brooklyn Child?
For me, man, I think first off, it's a great fight. You know what I mean? It got annoying these last few weeks. I'm not gonna lie because we constantly kept bringing up, Spence and Porter still. Spence and Crawford still. And I'm thinking to myself, we got Spence and Porter, man. You know what I mean? This is a great fight. Let's kill this whole Spence and Crawford for just a couple weeks, please. Let's think about Spence and Porter. This is a great fight. Know what I'm saying? Now, I can see it. I can see it going two ways. I can see it being a kind of like a unanimous decision win for Spence, and I can see it this one way, and this is kind of how I see the fight going. I don't know, man. Something's telling me that Spence is really gonna do a number on Shawn Porter today. I think Spence is gonna do a number on this man today. You know what I mean? But it's not to discredit Shawn Porter because my opinion on Shawn Porter is in the minority, but I think Shawn Porter is a pound for pound fighter.
Agreed.
I think if you have a top 10 pound for pound list, you have to have Shawn Porter there. You don't give me these little midget dudes from Japan. You know what I'm saying? These guys are not better than Shawn Porter, bro. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But I just think Errol Spence is just at a different level. You know what I mean? I just think he's several notches above a Shawn Porter, and I really think Errol Spence is gonna do the MF to Shawn Porter today, bro.
Okay, so let me ask you this question real quick before I let Stormy Bean join in. Now, what do you think? What are the keys in the fight that you're going to be looking for?
The keys to the fight. Well, for one, I want to see if what work can Shawn Porter do to Errol Spence on the inside, because now Shawn Porter, in my opinion, does have underrated boxing ability. You know, I think it's unfortunate that Shawn Porter gets this title of being some sort of football player or something like that. You know, and I don't think it's right. It's not fair, because if you watch Shawn Porter, you know what I mean, Shawn Porter does throw a decent jab. He does do good work on the inside. He does throw good overhand rights and lefts and stuff. He is always in your face. He always making you feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So Shawn Porter possesses some excellent attributes, but I don't know, man. I just think at the end of the day, Errol Spence, his jab, you can make an argument that Errol Spence probably has the best jab in the sport. I think
that's a good argument.
No, maybe because I would pass that off to Kurt, because you know I'm not going to pretend like I know boxing like a Kurt Anderson or a Stormy B man. You know what I'm saying? But,
okay, for sure. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, finish your point.
No, but what I'm saying is, I just think in my mind, Shawn Porter is going to have a major issue with Errol Spence Jr.'s jab, because like one time, like when I see Shawn Porter, a lot of times he's light on it. Because one thing about Shawn Porter, he's light on his feet. He's very light on his feet, and he tries to find that perfect time and the rhythm to get on the inside and do his work. But what Shawn Porter is going to be faced with is a jab constantly in his face. You know what I mean? So I don't think Shawn Porter will ever get in a good rhythm to do good work. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I see things.
Okay, for sure. Now, before I let Curtis Sanchez go on, let's bring in Stormy B Man into the chat there. So let me get him in here. There we go. What's going on, Stormy B Man? How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me on, and salute to the other brothers on here. What's going on with you guys?
What's good, Stormy?
Hey, Stormy, what's good? What's good, bro?
Having a great day, Stormy B Man.
Oh yeah, how could it not be a great day, man? We got a wonderful night of boxing coming up, and I am going to, for the first time since the late 70s, early 80s, gonna see a fight on the big screen at the movie theater tonight, man. So I'm excited, man. I am excited.
So let me ask you this though, too, Stormy B Man. You know, what are the keys that you're gonna be looking for in this fight tonight?
Well, what I've always maintained, even early on when they decided to make this fight, was whether or not Shawn Porter was going to come to this fight as a champion and not just a guy who has been competing in the division. Because as we watch things unfold, Keith Thurman used to be the man of the division. But when he didn't want to fight certain fighters, namely Errol Spence as he was coming up, and then also just behind Errol doing his thing comes Terrence Crawford doing his thing, and then it looked like Keith Thurman wanted to take a step back and go in different directions. It seemed like the other names in the division just got thrown into the second tier or whatever, including Shawn and Danny Garcia and guys like that. But now that Shawn is a two-time world champion at the division, that's not something to be easily overlooked, because there's a number of guys out there who've been competing, but there are not a lot of them out there who have been winning multiple time, championships. So even with that being said, it is important that be acknowledged on Shawn's behalf. Now, also a motivating factor for him is so many people are picking against him because of his style, because that he doesn't necessarily exhibit the technical aspects of what people look at when they think that someone is a good boxer. But I heard it said recently, just this week, I don't remember, and forgive me for not remembering who said it, but it was a veteran person from the sport. They said that if you're looking at boxing of today, a lot of guys are not technically sound today, which is why a guy like Shawn Porter can be so successful. So if you want to say that Errol is maybe technically superior, but Earl stands out and stands above a number of other guys because outside of himself in that division, maybe Crawford is they're the two technically sound guys. Even Kell Brook, to a certain degree, wasn't all that technically sound, because a part of his game was a lot of holding and grappling, you see, not fighting defensively and being able to put himself in a position to do and execute ring generalship. So Shawn is at the top of the sport in his division because he belongs there. And for anyone that thinks that Earl is just going to wipe him out or blow him out, you don't know what's inside a man until that's tested and challenged. And that's one of those so-called intangibles that you've heard Kurt speak about that many people don't give credit to fighters because you can never measure what's inside of a man. Shawn may come in there and fight the most technically aspected fight that you've ever seen in his career, and you would have never expected it. But that doesn't mean it can't happen. You see what I'm saying? That's
Right.
why you leave a window of opportunity and don't put just such a wide division between the talent because of what you think you're looking at and what you've never seen. Because until it happens, you won't have anything to base it on going forward. You see what I mean? So that's how I feel about that.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. So let's go ahead and check out the chat real quick. King Louis, what's going on, brother? He says, salute Abel. Also, Stone Boxing says Spinks was a more accurate puncher than Porter, and he overshoots a lot of his punches. Okay. Samuel S says Porter Spence is free in the UK. Man, you lucky though, bro. So, Boxing and Barbecue says Earl's mannerism and demeanor has a sinister side and mean tone leading up to this fight. Shawn, on the other hand, seems a little too happy, maybe because it's his first pay-per-view. It might be. We don't know. Boxing Barbecue also said Earl has a mannerism that leads me to believe that Shawn being broken is going to be broken after this fight. Okay. 88 Sports Talk says Earl will make the fight interesting as long as he wants it to be. Okay. Stonebone Boxing says Earl's looking to punish Porter. Okay. Mark Stern says Spence is in kill mode. He's going to be a monster tonight. Okay. Stonebone Boxing says Porter has to stay on the inside when he has to have any chance. Okay, for sure. Samuel S says that Nope Copeland has the best jab in boxing right now. Maybe a bit of debatable though, but he's not a decent jab. But that's a bit of debatable in my opinion. Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens. What's going on, brother? How you doing? SMHB Dayjog. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Also, Boxing Barbecue says this fight's gonna be way too good and entertaining to have suffer through the casual saying dumb stuff. Gotta watch this at home. Agree. I'm so glad I'm watching this at home though too. You know what I mean? So, Dead Game Boxing also said the new narrative is if Shawn wins, I nominate Kenny Porter for Trainer of the Year. That's an interesting opinion. So, I'm gonna pass around this question to each of you guys. Okay. Now, in whatever happens from the fight from here on in, what do you think will happen afterwards? Now let's start with Curtis Anderson first. So let me ask you this question, Mr. Curtis Anderson. Do you want to see a Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. fight in the future or immediately? What do you think?
If Earl wins tonight in impressive fashion, please make the Crawford fight early 2020. It's the hottest fight in boxing. Two undefeated fighters in the prime of their careers in the same division. For boxing's sake, you cannot pass that up. You can't. Hearns and Leonard and Curry, McQuarrie, they fought. So this goes right in the same lines of those two fights that I just mentioned, because not only they're the best in the division, I got Crawford number 1 pound for pound. I got Spence number 4 pound for pound. Those I said this on the stream before, and I said it repeatedly. I says any fight in the welterweight division, that Spence fight and his name is not Crawford and vice versa, are junior varsity fights. The varsity fight will be Crawford versus Spence, because you have 2 male lions. Pacquiao is not going to fight Spence. I'll be surprised if he does. He can earn a lot of money if he fights Spence. Spence is hot right now. If he wins in dominant fashion, 12-round division, but he dominates Shawn like nobody's business, his star is even going to get brighter. Spence is hot, man. He's a hot fighter right now. His brand. He's an exciting fighter. He's coming off a successful pay-per-view. He dominated Mikey Garcia. He has the Cowboys behind him. He's from a boxing state, Texas, and he's one of the best well-known fighters. And if he wins, in a perfect world, I would like to see Pacquiao, then Crawford. Or if Pacquiao don't fight him, then Crawford first. If Porter wins, Danny Garcia is going to come out the woodworks. Keith Thurman is going to come out the woodworks. They're going to be racing to fight Shawn Porter. Because the narrative will be, we fought before, we have unfinished business. So you can always use that narrative to get a second or third fight. We should have a rematch or a 3-match. I'll call it third fight. Maybe Pacquiao will come and be like, hey, I'm an 8 division world champ and I'm the legend. I should have first dibs on Shawn Porter, because these guys will be like, even though Porter tough, they feel they can beat him rather than Errol Spence. So secretly, I don't care what they say, they're rooting for Porter. Get that male lion Spence out the way, please, Shawn. That's what they're saying. But I just see Spence winning. But if Porter, that's how it would go. They will be lining up to fight Porter. Porter's hot, come off a big upset. But if Spence wins, I want to see Spence and Crawford.
I definitely agree with some of your points, though, too. But here's the thing. I've been a guy I've always been saying before, Spence and Crawford is the biggest fight in the 147-pound weight division. Okay? Now, the thing is this. If Spence wins, I don't believe for a second Pacquiao would want any smoke with Errol Spence. Not unless the money's good. If the money's good, he'll probably probably cash himself out. But the thing is this. I don't believe for a second that Pacquiao is going to want a fight with Errol Spence Jr. because the matchups, the styles of the fight of those two fighters is not going to work well for Manny Pacquiao, and I believe he's going to get stretched though too. So that's what I believe. But let me ask around though too. So, Mr. Brooklyn Child Boxing, what's your opinion about this too?
I mean, on my end, man. Like now, this is all assuming. Because I agree with Kurt. I definitely feel Spence is going to get by Porter tonight. You know what I'm saying? As far as afterwards, man, of course, do I want to see Spence versus Crawford like everybody else? Absolutely. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to be like going to the rooftop. Spence, we got to see Spence and Porter. I mean, we got to see Spence and Crawford. We got to see Spence and Crawford. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm okay. I'm honestly, bro, and I don't know. Honestly, bro, I'm okay with Spence fighting the other, like fighting everybody, whoever on PBC. Like I'd be okay with it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like I said, man. I'm not gonna scream to the heavens. Oh, Spence and Porter, Spence and Crawford, because at the end of the day, like the fight's not. I don't think the fight is gonna happen. It's not gonna happen next after. Like something telling me like it's not gonna happen next. So being that it's not gonna happen next, I'm not gonna scream to the heavens and like, oh, Spencer Crawford. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And also too, I'm not gonna be like trying to like build these guys. Like I'm not gonna try to like build these guys up or have the same fiasco like in with Pacquiao and Mayweather and stuff. You know what I mean? When the fight when the fight gets made, I'll support the fight. But until then, I'm gonna support whatever. I'm gonna support the best matchups, not just Spence and Crawford, but fights throughout the sport of boxing. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it.
For sure, man. Not a problem whatsoever. So, all right, Mr. Stormy Beamer, anything you wanted to conclude? Would you want to see Crawford versus Spence in the future, or do you think it's going to be pushed back?
Well, first of all, Brooklyn Child Boxing left me a little bewildered there with his comment about he wouldn't scream from the rooftops. Let's make the fight with Crawford and Spence if Spence prevailed. That kind of that throws me for a loop, because at the end of the day, we all have claimed that we want to see the best fighting the best in the sport. Political positions aside about who signed with who, the next best fight that can be made in that division is Spence versus Crawford. Those two men are the best in that division. Even though this fight is taking place, it's a fight between two champions in the division, but it's not the fight between the best touted fighters in the sport at that division. So as long as you want to hold on to that type of position, these things will never take place, because you're not wholeheartedly investing in the quality of what the sport should give the fans. You are giving them an out, okay? Because you can always come back around as an undisputed champion and begin to pick off everyone else that's in the division and clear it out and then move on. We've seen guys unify belts and become undisputed and move up to different weight classes. Whatever happened to the era of just whooping everybody's ass in your weight class, where you leave no questions about how good you are? Then if you move up to another division and become a champion, you've already put yourself in consideration for being a great because of what you did first. I am not going to call you great when you've left a ton of unworked and unfinished business behind, and you went up, and maybe the guys that you go up and face aren't as good as the guys that are in the weight class that you're coming from. See, this is boxing knowledge here, because just because there's another weight class doesn't mean that the people at the different weight class are better than the ones where you're competing at.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Canelo Alvarez give the ultimate example of that, where he had created his own division, okay, with the catch weight, avoiding guys at the natural weights, and then moving beyond that and navigating and fighting for titles and everything within a box without seeing the people who had earned their stripes and were looking to prove themselves against better and quality opposition so that they can ensure the value of what their championship reigns are. And you got people like him avoiding. You got people like Leo Santa Cruz doing the same thing, Frampton and those guys with Guillermo Rigondeaux. So how can a fighter earn his stripes as being great if people are not going to step up and face him? Right. And then they're running other weight classes, fighting on other malcontents who don't really put in the work or efforts, and they take titles off of those guys, and then they walk around with a badge of honor saying, look at me. You see what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that you went to bat against guys who were every bit as hungry as you, every bit as talented as you, and wanted to prove themselves against you, but you run away from it. So the way I see it, this fight takes place tonight. If it's a great fight, I have no problem with the freaking rematch, because if it's a great fight, then it becomes something that was much more than what people had foreseen. It gives those guys an opportunity to make even more money, and then it adds to the luster of both their legacy. You see what I'm saying? Taking care of business where you are and then move forward. But just to avoid, because one guy signed with one guy and one guy signed with another guy. I mean, Felix Trinidad was signed with Don King, and Oscar De La Hoya was with Bob Arum, but they still came together and they fought one another. We would have missed out on that great fight if we went on the principle of what was just being stated because he signed with another guy.
Okay.
You have to say what you really want as opposed to what you have underlying feelings about, because it's two separate things.
Agreed. Very well said, Stormy B, man. Here's the thing. I've always been a proponent that the best fighters have to fight each other, not just for whatever money per se, but for legacy's sake. Here's the thing. In this era, we've seen so many other fighters avoid against the best competition out there because they try to cover it up as labeled as a business type decision. At the end of the day, Spence and Crawford are the two best fighters at 147. Listen, I've said it before, and I've said it, and I'm going to keep saying it. These two fighters have to fight each other for their own personal legacies in the sport of boxing, because if they don't fight each other, it's going to be a huge black mark against their legacies in the ring. All right, both these guys, to me, as of this moment, are first ballot Hall of Famers. Okay, but if they don't fight each other, then there's going to be some doubt in their careers. And that's what Stormy B, man, was alluding to, and Curtis Anderson alludes to too. The thing that I learned about in sports is that boxing, to me, is just a strange sport where you can avoid fighting against the best. Just ask Canelo Alvarez, Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton. You can ask many other fighters that ducked against other fighters. Okay, so the bottom line is this: if there's a great fight, everybody wins. If the fight lives up to expectation and even beyond that, then everybody wins, because then you can add a rematch to it, and then it will contribute to the building of both of their legacies. But the thing is, in this era of boxing, where a lot of the best fighters try to avoid against one another, it's becoming much more ridiculous. Just like what I learned from Curtis Anderson. If two great fighters want to fight against each other, regardless of what stable they're from, the fight can be made. You remember that saying, Curtis?
Absolutely.
Agreed. Because the thing is, listen, if two great fighters want to fight against each other, they will do whatever it takes to make the fight happen. I don't want to see Pacquiao versus Spence, because I know what's going to happen. Spence is going to stretch this little man. All right. The only reason that fight would be made, in my view, is because it's for much more for money purposes, to help elevate Errol Spence Jr. to another stratosphere. That's the reason behind with it. But I would not be in support of that fight, because, again, that fight to me doesn't do much to add what Errol Spence Jr.'s legacy would be. Terrence Crawford is the one, in my viewpoint. You know what I mean? Did you have something to say, Curtis?
Yeah, well, I'm agree with you. You're right, man. Sometimes a fight, what we used to call, got tongue twisted, was a natural. When you have a Leonard Duran, was a natural. Duran moved up for 141 time against Sal Manby. He wanted to fight Leonard. I mean, he was, he hated Sugar Ray Leonard because he saw him as a pretty boy. But it was a natural. Leonard and Hearns was a natural. Ali and Frazier was a natural. Sometimes, man, the boxing gods bless you with two great fighters in the same division at the same time. Mayweather and Pacquiao, they messed that up. The fight was bad. The stench was bad. It was way too late. Even Tyson Holyfield was late, but it turned out to be a great fight because people underestimated Holyfield and he pulled the upset. We get lucky sometimes as boxing fans, and we're lucky to have Crawford and Spence at the same time, undefeated, same division. The way boxing is set up, they're meant to fight. They're meant to fight, and they will fight. It will be a travesty if they don't. I would be so upset because that's the fight I want to see. Joshua Wilder should have fought. You know, J-Rock and Charlo should have fought. And look what happened. Perfect analogy. J-Rock Hurd loses to J-Rock and Charlo loses to Harrison. And before Hurd and Charlo was the hot fight. Things can go left in boxing real quick.
That's right.
You know, I don't want to see Spence with a loss on his record when he meets Crawford. I don't want to see Crawford with a loss on his record. I want them both undefeated fighting now.
I definitely agreed. I definitely agree with that. And also another one there too. When Joshua declined the $50 million deal, what happened? He got knocked out by Andy Ruiz in a few fights. And now, in my viewpoint, I think Wilder and Joshua, even though it's still a big fight, has lost some of its luster because people know Joshua can't beat Wilder. That's a fact. So now, what Mark Stern that I just showed in the chat here, he made a great point. He said Crawford's unrealistic about the split. Listening to Bob Arum, Crawford needs to build his profile. In my opinion, right now, Bud will be eating off of Spence's plate. Top Rank is not promoting Bud. Now, I do agree with your last point, Mr. Stearns. I think Top Rank is not heavily promoting Bud as much as they should. Now, I do believe that to Terence Crawford's resume right now, although it's not as strong, he was undisputed at 140. I mean, it has to be something. It has to add something into it, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of see it. So before we go ahead.
I know I'll say something that going back to kind of what Stormy B-Man was saying and other people saying. I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, would I like to see the fight? Absolutely. But see, my thing is, there's a lot of, like, with this Spence and Crawford situation, there's a lot of variables. You know what I mean? Because from the outside looking in, the reason why I'm not going to scream from the rooftop is because I feel like some of the things that Crawford done and said is questionable, and some of the things that Spence said was questionable. Like, I'm not a fan of Spence saying, "Oh, we're in the other side of the street, this side of the street," and then also too, you got a Crawford who's talking about, "Oh, I don't need Spence." You know, Spence, he said something along the lines like, "I'm the A side, this, that, and third." So, and then also too, you got the promotional differences. You know, you had a Top Rank who stole Tyson Fury for prevented that fight. So with all these variables, the reason why I'm saying, like, I'm not going to scream from the rooftop is because all these people are playing games. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people are playing games and shit. And it's like, bro, I mean, when the fight happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, listen, that's on them. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this fight to me is not bigger than the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like it's up for the whole, like the whole sport needs to be lifted. It's not just like this fight in general.
Okay, I have something to say to that.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Stormy B, man.
When you say that these guys are playing games, yes, they are playing games. But who do you think puts them in a position to play the games that you speak of? You guys. Okay? And I'll explain that. Terence Crawford came up from 140 to 147. He said, "I want all those guys." That's what he said. Now, the first fight that was made was with Horn, because Horn and, WBO and Bob Arum, we know that they could do that. But it looks great for him to have a title to compete against someone else. Now, why was it like before Earl had a title, you had Thurman saying, "Well, once he get a title, he could come and see me, and we could do things." He got a title, and then Thurman went and started having all these injuries and different reasons that he couldn't fight. Crawford came up. He was like, "Oh, he need to prove himself or whatever." But when Danny Garcia came up, he was like, "Oh, Danny, come see me." He was the first one to call out Danny Garcia. So the games are being played, but do you realize the game that is being played? Because it's being played on you, the fan, the one that is that'll pay for fights and watch the fights and pay your money and all of that, when you're not demanding the best, they will keep giving you grilled cheese sandwiches until you say, damn that, I want an Angus steak burger. You understand? So that's one thing. The other thing, like Trap House said on his stream earlier today, Crawford has been there, and these guys had a chance to get him when he first came up because he was coming up from a lighter division and everything. The guy has been there a couple years now. He's gotten acclimated, and he's every bit of welterweight as any of them, okay, at the weight class. Now, some may be a little bigger and ready to move on, but that doesn't mean that he's not capable because he brings something that a lot of them don't have. And I said this earlier, skills. Everybody in that division is not skillful, but a lot of them have enjoyed success because they've been better and athletically capable and things like that. But there's not a lot of guys out there who have rolled their sleeves up and went in those gyms and come out primed and ready to make legacy. A lot of them out there to make money. You have talented guys like Zab Judah, and his era has passed. But someone similar to Adrian Broner, very talented, but refused to buckle down and be the best he could be because he's been out there fighting a number of guys and competing at the high level. But imagine if he didn't cut corners like he did, what he could really be. But see, the last time he fought, his sales was through the roof. And that's because of y'all. That gives the false impression that that's acceptable. You could be out there half-assing it and everything, not let your hands go, as they say, in the midst of a fight. But every time he come out, you come out in droves to support him. Why are you supporting bullshit? You have to look at what you're asking. And I can't say it enough. When you demand quality and you want change, you have to show why you want the change and what's not acceptable. You've seen what's not acceptable, but you still seem to find a way to receive it openly. You can't have it both ways, bro. You can't. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Well, okay. Stormy B Man just laid out the drop mic moment on that. You got that right. So, but respect to Stormy B Man, Brooke the Child, Boxing, and Curtis Anderson, and everybody in the chat though too. So let me go ahead and check out the chat real quick. Renee Boxion, what's going on, brother? How you doing? I hope to try to include you in some future live streams yourself though too, especially with all that BS is going on with Canelo lately. So hopefully we can include you in the future. He says salute Mahari, salute historians. All right. He also said man down, the showstopper, the shark eats the swimmer. Okay. All right. And then Samuel says that Crawford will make Spence quit. Okay. I hope you stick to those guns when that happens. Renee Box says salute to the chat. Spence says Renee Box Young says Spence wants all those guys except Porter. All right. So, you know, here's the thing. Hold on one second here. There we go. See, here's the thing. If like we've been agreeing to throughout this whole live stream, if both these fighters want to fight against each other, the fight can happen. We do all agree that both these guys want to fight each other. Now, do we want it to happen immediately? Absolutely. You know, as a fan of the sport, I do agree. I would want to have this fight immediately, you know. But, you know, the thing is that sadly all this politics gets in the way. But it's up to us fans to voice those demands to make that fight happen. And eventually, when the fans start to unify together and work together equilaterally to put the pressure on both the fighters and the promoters to make the fight happen, then the fight can be made. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? So everybody, I know all three of you guys have your different viewpoints, so well respected for that. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and also ask about the underdog card too between Andre Dirrell versus David Benavidez. So we're gonna start going around. So let's start with Curtis Anderson. So we got the undercard between Benavidez versus Dirrell. How do you see that fight?
I think it's going to be one-sided. I could, a lot of people don't agree with me. I've been following Dirrell for a minute. Him and his brother Anthony and Andre. It seems like they could have been better than what they really shown. Dirrell doesn't have the fire I thought he would have. I just don't like how he sounds. Interviewing him. Being on different interviews. Benavidez is young, strong. He throws a lot of punches. He comes forward very aggressive. I didn't like Dirrell last performance. He's become very stale to me. I think Benavidez TKOs Dirrell in 8 rounds, man. Sometimes a fighter can have talent and he doesn't hone his skills. Yeah, he becomes inactive or he fights nobodies and he barely gets bodies guys. And that's what I see in Dirrell, man. I think Benavidez stops him to fight. I want to see in the division is Caleb Plant and Benavidez. A lot of people is looking forward to this fight, not me. Now, whether Dirrell turns into Joe Calzaghe tonight, that's another story. I don't see it. I think Benavidez walks him down and then walks through him. I like Benavidez in the 8th round TKO.
Okay. Brooklyn Child Boxing, how do you see Dirrell versus Benavidez?
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with Kurt. I mean, I remember watching Benavidez, Anthony Dirrell's last fight, and he really didn't look good at all, honestly. He looks like he's a shot fighter, you know what I mean? And then also too, there was I think it was like a little bit after the fight. I don't remember exactly what interview it was, but the way he was talking, it doesn't seem like his heart is in the sport as much. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because he's older and whatnot, and Benavidez looked like he's still, he's young. He's still passionate about the sport. He still wants to be involved in the sport. Anthony Dirrell came across like he did an interview, like I said, and he came across as a man that didn't really want to be a part of sport as much. You could tell his time is coming down, and then also too, Anthony Dirrell has been in a lot of like tough fights. You know what I mean? His name's Dog for a reason. But yeah, man, I'm in agreement with Kurt, man. I see it kind of one-sided. You know what I mean? Benavidez is he throws excellent combinations. He throws excellent shots to the body. Like he's very fun to watch. He's very fun to watch for sure. You know what I mean? And I just think Benavidez is gonna put a number on him. Honestly, sometimes I'm thinking like this is more like a showcase fight. You know what I mean? Rather than like it's a championship fight, but I think Benavidez is really gonna show out in this fight.
Okay, no problem with that. Stormy B-Man, what about you? How do you see the Benavidez versus Dirrell fight?
Sorry, I had to come off of mute there. I think that Benavidez definitely should be favored. I discussed last night. My problem is if Dirrell is capable of boxing without his ego getting in the way. And I had stated earlier that if he is capable of boxing without his ego getting in the way and sticking to a formula and a game plan, he should be able to beat Benavidez with boxing. And that doesn't mean he's a great boxer, but there are things he can do as a boxer, as a more experienced fighter, that he could put Benavidez to a disadvantage. And it kind of echoes what happened in the Robert Gabriel, I think the fight with Benavidez, similar, another fight that he had that was very tough for him. It will require boxing, sticking the jab, making him, have to reset, move his feet a certain kind of way, do the things that if you have the experience, you know these things can be done. But I'm not sure if he has that discipline to not allow his ego to get in the way, because his ego is going to say, "Oh, this young boy is trying to walk me down. He hits me pretty hard. I got to show him how hard I can hit." Those kind of foolish things that will put him in a situation where the younger fighter doesn't have to work hard. All he has to do is just be active. But this is what happens when you bring a younger fighter in with an older fighter. Older fighters are supposed to realize you don't have to fight at his pace. You set and dictate the tone and the tempo. But this is why sometimes younger guys are able to overcome the veterans. It's like the old analogy of the bull and the calf. The calf said, "Hey, Dad, see those little pussies down there? Let's run down and screw them."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "No, let's walk down and screw them all." You see, that's the difference. The veteran should be able to know how to pace and go through the paces. But when he allows ego to enter play, then he can be subjected to whatever the younger fighter can do and do well. So I think that Benavidez should be favored.
Okay. Salute to Stormy B-Man for that prediction. Here's the thing. I do see David Benavidez walking down on Andre Dirrell and basically going right through him. I think that Dirrell at this point right now, his mind and his heart is not into the sport anymore, even though he's coming there as a champion. I think all the wars he's been through and all the personal issues outside of boxing have really affected his career in a very big way. And I think that David Benavidez is going to try to showcase what he can do an event of a future fight between Caleb Payne versus David Benavidez. You know what I mean? I really think that fight at 168 is going to be a really good future fight. That's going to be really going to show the two best fighters in that 168-pound class. I got Caleb Payne winning that fight, but it's not going to be easy because David Benavidez is very powerful and has quick hands, and also needs to improve. The one thing he needs to improve upon is that he needs to improve upon just his footwork too. He can't be in there flat-footed against a very good, counter puncher in terms of Caleb Plant. But I think this is going to be more of a showcase fight to really show what David Benavidez can do when he gets the opportunity to fight against Caleb Plant. Now that's going to be a fight I can't wait to watch though too. So, okay, guys. So we're not on the verge of seeing the fight in about a couple hours away. So let's go ahead and just try to wrap this up. So let's go, Curtis Anderson. Go ahead and give me your last words.
Oh, man, great live stream. Stormy, Brooklyn Child, yourself, man, and could talk boxing all day. I just want people to enjoy the fight, man. And, we got something to look forward to, man. The prelims start at 7:30, so I'm just going to sit back and, wait for the fight and enjoy it, give us something to talk about. It'll be very interesting tonight, man. The anticipation of something is better than the event itself. So, thanks for inviting me on, man.
Hey, absolutely. Anytime. So go ahead, Mr. Brooklyn Child Boxing. Go ahead and give me your last words.
All right, my bad to get off mute. Yeah, man. Hey, salute to you, Abel, man. Thank you for allowing me on, man. And also too, man. And anytime you're having next time you're having some basketball discussion, I'd love to join in that discussion as well, because I love my New York Knicks. You know what I mean? I love my New York Knicks, man. But yeah, man. It's gonna be a great night of boxing, man. At the end of the day, no matter I got Spence winning and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I just hope it's a great fight, man. It's gonna be a great fight, but hopefully it's a great fight, man. Both guys, they do what they do in the ring, man, but they go back to their families and they're healthy and all that, and that goes to all the fighters tonight. I expect it's gonna be a great night of boxing, man. I can't wait. And Stormy said this earlier, man. I'm actually going to the movie theaters as well to watch the fight, so looking forward to that, man. But yeah, man. Salute to the channel, man. Salute to the chat, man, and let's have a great night of boxing.
All right, for sure, though, Brooklyn Child Boxing. I'll make sure to include you in the basketball conversation in the future, for sure. So, Mr. Stormy B-Man, go ahead and give me your last words.
Yes, salute to you, Abel. You got a really nice little channel here going, and I appreciate you bringing me on. And salute to Brooklyn Child and Kurt. And as these gentlemen said, I am looking forward to a great night of boxing. It's gonna be. I'm really looking to seeing it on this big screen again. I haven't done that since a long time ago when I was a young kid. So I'm excited about that. I hope, as it was said by the other gentleman as well, that just the fight plays out, that it's a fan friendly fight, that you feel like you got your evening's worth out of it, and that the two men can come out. Well, one will have to be a loser in order for one to be victorious, but whoever it may be, may they come out both sides being healthy and get back to their families and everything, but people can celebrate them tomorrow for the efforts that they put through. And yeah, thanks for sending me a link, and I was glad to be on here with you guys. So everybody have a good night of upcoming fights.
All right. So special thanks to Curtis Anderson, Stormy B-Man, and Brooklyn Child Boxing for their great opinions and insights. So, bro, I want to thank everybody in the chat, though, for the engagement, though, man. It's always fun to read you guys and hear a lot of the different opinions, though, too. So I'm going to try to continue to push out more live streams. You can find me Thursdays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Central Time, and actually the Boxing Talk at 3 p.m. Central Time on Saturdays, though, too. For all the new subscribers, though, too, make sure to go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon for all the latest notifications, and also when I go live there, too, for all the times when I go on live. So this is Abil Mahari, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast. Salute to the entire LDBC. Enjoy the fight. Stay safe. And I'll be back later on after the fight for a post-fight show. Y'all take care, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace out.